Hello gamers. Alright, hey everyone, it's your boy, and today I wanted to talk about a question I keep getting a lot and hopefully shed a little bit of light on it. A lot of people are asking, is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance canon? And in most series that's a really cut and dry question of like, yes or no. But because, of course, Hideo Kojima worked on it, it's slightly more complicated, but I want to make it as simple as possible. So, short answer is yes, probably. But let's get into why we have to even have a short and a long answer for the question. So, there are 3 Metal Gear games, to my knowledge, there may be more, that have a debatable placement in canon, and they are these 3. They are Metal Gear Rising, Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, and Metal Gear Acid. Now let's start with the odd one out. Metal Gear Acid has been confirmed by Kojima to not be canon. He said the gameplay and the world building is far too far away from what he expects from Metal Gear. It has never been referenced or nothing has ever been done with it in any of the other Metal Gear games. Metal Gear Acid is pretty collectively by the community considered to be not canon. So, now let's get into the next one, Portable Ops. And Portable Ops is tricky. So, the argument for it being canon is that it really neatly fits in just right before Peace Walker. The only issue is that there's a few, and I mean a scant few, but a couple few contradictions between what the plot of Portable Ops is and the plot of Peace Walker and 5, which, if you don't know, the chronology goes Snake Eater, Peace Walker, Ground Zeroes, Phantom Pain, Metal Gear, Solid Snake, Solid, Liberty, Patriots, Rising. So, you'll notice in that chronology, and this is the official one published, Portable Ops isn't there. But, like, it could be, and there's not a whole ton of reason for it not to be. It's just the plot kind of gets heavy, and if we look here, we can see that the game is not written nor directed by Hideo Kojima, who was working on MGS4 at the time. And additionally, the marketing deliberately tried to distance it from the other games. And Metal Gear Ghost Babel, yeah, that shit wasn't canon. So, basically, what happens is that Portable Ops is in a really weird spot where, like this says, it could have happened, but there's no real way to know, because it is mentioned potentially, and it's not even entirely sure the line that is mentioning it once in Peace Walker. At the very beginning, Kaz says something about that whole thing somewhere else, basically. I don't remember where Portable Ops is set, I'm sorry. Mid-editing note, so I remember the line, Kaz says, what about that business at the San Jeronimo Peninsula? Or something like that. I put a forum post with it. I just spent like 20 minutes digging around on YouTube to see if I could find it in any videos, and they were all 5 hours long, and I could not find it scrubbing through them for the life of me. So if anyone has that line, feel free to throw it in the comments, but this is the only mention of Portable Ops ever in the series. But he says, well, what about that business wherever? And that's it. Like, that is the only time it's ever mentioned in the Metal Gear canon. So, Portable Ops is in a weird spot where it definitely could be canon, but most don't consider it canon. So now the question is, why, if Portable Ops wasn't written or directed by Kojima, why is Revengeance, which is in pretty much the same boat, if we look over here at directors, producers, designers, you won't find Kojima anywhere, why is it considered more canon? And it's a great question. So if we go look at Portable Ops again, you'll notice Hideo Kojima is listed as producer, and this one is not considered as canon to most. Even if we go to the Metal Gear Wiki itself, the Metal Gear Wiki has it listed as canon, or at the worst, a parallel continuation, which, that's stupid. So why is Metal Gear Rising more canon? And it basically comes down to development. So at this point, Kojima has started on Metal Gear Solid 5, and this is a recurring theme you see a lot with these spin-off games, that they started with the idea of Kojima working on them, and then very quickly he got pulled away to the next mainline Metal Gear, and so now we have Kojima not working on them and their canonicity being very debatable. So what I think makes Rising different is that it started under Team Kojima, under his team. It wasn't by him, and the whole point of it deliberately from the beginning was that Kojima handed it off to his team while he was working on something else and said, make a Metal Gear Solid, make a Raiden spinoff. That was the whole point. And when they asked him what the direction he wanted it to be, he literally told them to do what they wanted. There's a really good What Happened video. I'll link it here. I don't know why I pointed. I'm recording with only my voice. But it'll be on screen. And you can watch that. And they have some really great interviews you can source all this from. But the difference is that where Portable Ops kind of gets contradicted because Kojima comes back in and he's like, I want to make the real sequel to Metal Gear Solid 3, which was Peace Walker, and Peace Walker then kind of overrides what happens in Portable Ops, in a sense. There was never anything else that was going to be where Rising was. Originally, Rising was planned to go here in the timeline, between Sons of Liberty and Guns of the Patriots, and due to some issues we'll discuss in a second, it was moved to the end of the timeline. So there's nothing that can conflict with this canonicity, contradict it, anything like that. It's the last thing that happens in Metal Gear that we know about. So with that said, what happened with it? The short version is that after 2 years of work, and I'm definitely going to do a video going in depth on this because I find it just insanely interesting. But after 2 years of work, the team at Konami, Kojima's team without Kojima on it, were really struggling to find a direction for it. They had it running on the Fox engine, and they had some really cool stuff going on with it, but they just could not figure out a story direction for the life of themselves, and they couldn't really get down much more than Blade Mode, which was so cool, but they didn't know what to do, and they were running out of ideas, and they decided they needed help. So they started looking at studios, and ended up on, by chance really, with Platinum, which I don't think they could have made a better decision. And Platinum took essentially Blade Mode and Raiden and made the masterpiece we have today, Metal Gear Rising. And so the whole time, where is it? It says somewhere here, part of why Metal Gear Rising is considered more canon than these other spin-offs is because the whole time that they were working, Kojima basically said they had to have his approval on the story. What's really important to know is that Kojima is, I'm trying to find a nice way to say this. I don't think it's any stretch to say that Hideo Kojima is a bit eccentric, and maybe a bit picky, and he really refuses to let anything he didn't direct be in the same vein as his creations, which is why when we go look at this chronology over here, he directed every single one of these except for Revengeance, and the other ones that he wasn't a director on aren't there. But here's the thing, even with his somewhat insistence that he doesn't want it to be a part of this Metal Gear Solid series, it's not. It's Metal Gear Rising. And so it's a continuation of that from Raiden's perspective. And despite his insistence that he wants all of his things in the same timeline, it is pretty much generally accepted from everyone, pretty much, that it's canon. Like, it's canon. This is what Raiden did. There is some absurd things in the game. There are plenty of absurd things in Rising, but there's nothing so absurd that it absolutely contradicts or is way out of line for Metal Gear. It definitely turns a lot of elements up to 11, but it also tones down some. For example, like, there are people still doing insane things that aren't humanly possible at all, but instead of explaining it for 30 minutes, Rising normally just gives it a line or two of toss-away dialogue, and that be it. So, like, with Senator Armstrong just magically pulling up the wires from Metal Gear Excelsius and then becoming buff, he just says it's nanomachines.
Nanomachines, son. They harden in response to physical trauma.
And since Metal Gear Solid 4 took somewhere around the neighborhood of 4 hours to talk about nanomachines, if you're a fan, you don't need any more than that. Like, that's enough. You have been talked to death about nanomachines. You are completely fine with that. So it fits well. It's a stylistic fit, and it does that. In fact, the only thing that really doesn't fit with the Metal Gear series is the gameplay, which is deliberately why they named it Metal Gear Rising instead of Metal Gear Solid, which is why it's still sort of a spin-off, because it's not stealth-focused anymore. The focus is cutting dudes in half and tearing their spines out, which is very fun. But with that said, I hope that clears things up a little bit. The long and short of it is that Metal Gear Rising is as canon as a non-directly directed by Kojima game can be. It is, out of all 3 spin-offs that did well, Metal Gear Rising has easily got the strongest argument to be canon. But if you want to go out on a technicality, it is technically a... Where was it? Oh, it is technically a parallel continuation set 4 years after the events of Metal Gear Solid 4. If you really want to play technicalities, that's what it is, but realistically it's the continuation after Metal Gear Solid 4. I don't really think anyone would argue that or debate it. And yeah, that's about it. I think I'm gonna make a video soon about collecting. I know I said I would do that before this, and then a few different things happened, and I'm sorry for the wait, y'all, but basically I've bought some of these things and I'm really excited about them, and I wanted to be able to include those in the video, so that's why we're waiting. Other than that, I just wanted to do a little bit of clean house real quick and say thank you all so much. My TikTok blew up for like no reason at all, and I'm super thankful and grateful, and I'm glad y'all like this game as much as I do. It seriously means the world. Thank you so much. I'll keep making content about it. I am going to keep making other content too. I know that's been pretty sparse lately. Trust me, it's coming. I've been really hyper focused on Rising lately, and it is without a doubt my favorite game of all time. So I definitely want to give it its due. And I have a really big project that you all may not personally care about, but I've been working on it a long time in the background. And so that'll hopefully come out in the next month or two, and I'm really excited about it. I'll go ahead and spoil, that is, I'm going to read my entire thesis I wrote on video game marketing for college. I'm voicing over the entire thing, editing it, attaching links, I'm basically making it sort of a video essay almost. And that may not be interesting to 99% of you, but to the 1% that think that's cool, like, I'm really excited to bring it to you. And if even no one finds it cool, I've wanted to do it for a year. I'm just happy to be doing it, and it's what got me back in all this, so I'm happy to do it. But yeah, I'm gonna go try to edit this shit show now. Stay safe. Love y'all. Bye.